Hi there, YouTubers and RC enthusiasts out there. Um, let's just say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day. Well, I've got another little video of my losi LMT son of a digger RC monster truck. And the thing is that I have made a few videos of these, and someone said that that the shocks are leaking like crazy. Unfortunately, mine are also leaking. I clean them up. I dry them off on top of it because the oil, it gets everywhere. It goes underneath here, and it leaked all the way here when I received it in the package. Oh, sorry, when the package was arrived at my home, and I opened up the box, and this whole the top of the axle here, part of the servo was all, yeah, it was just soaked in oil, and this part here as well. So the thing is that I dried it up and I cleaned it. I thought, well, maybe it had to do with the O-ring, because this thing was busted when I opened up the shock, just to check if there was enough oil in it, because it was sagging a lot. So yeah, I opened up this one and the O-ring broke. Oh, sorry, the O-ring was broken on top here. So I replaced that, and I thought, well, maybe that was it. And then I put it away in the box, and same thing on all 8 of the shocks were, yeah, actually leaking. So what I think the problem is this O-ring here, the original. You just have to take it out. And what you must do is you must take these little, I'm sure you guys, you RC enthusiasts out there, recognize these little O-rings, and they're specially designed for shocks. And unfortunately, the original ones in these shocks, they did not do the job properly. They did use the material that the rings are made of on these outer ones, which do a good job. I mean, but it doesn't stop the ones and on the shock, the shaft of the shock here. So I'm gonna try that, and I've already placed this one, and I just got to replace this one. And these two are replaced, so I just got to replace these ones and then the ones on the back. So just hopefully that's gonna work out, and then if it doesn't, well, on to the next solution. But the thing is that this is I've made quite a few complaints about this awesome RC monster truck. Why didn't losi just replace these O-rings with these ones? I mean, come on. Like I said before in my other video, we pay so much for these radar control cars, or in this case radar control monster truck, and to me it's like they couldn't even be bothered about the shocks, and as well as these reservoirs, these fatal plastic thingies on here. If you haven't watched my video, I drilled a hole into here, not into the shock, not into the shock, not into the aluminum, but just on the clamp here, and then just use a tiny little screw, and you screw it in, and then and then it clamps down and lock properly. Because what happens is when the reservoir, when they're all loose, and the thing is that when you're driving around, it tends to go back here, and then it comes against the sway bar. Again, the people who designed this thing, they should have gone that extra kilometer just to, just pay attention to the small little details. They should have firstly put it out on the test track, see what it does, or just make these clamps, just a little bit smaller, so at least they don't flop around all over the place. And maybe if you notice on my truck, I added 2 aluminum bars here. I drilled them out. Well, I cut them to size, drilled them out, tapped them out, and then put them on here just for a little bit of extra, strength. And as well as, can you hear that? That's play in the truck. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some, what I do is, if you watch my other video about my juggernaut, I just take pieces of hydraulic, because the hydraulic tubing, These little, I'm sure you guys also recognize these ones. They're actually all over the place. You've got little hydraulics and at your workplace or whatever. And I got this from somewhere where I was working at, and they had old ones laying around. I said, well, what you doing with them? Well, I'll throw them away. I said, well, give them to me. So they gave me a whole bunch and all sorts of sizes. Obviously, this one is a bit too big. Here we go. Here are the ones that I used. They're a bit smaller. What you do is cut about that much off, and then you put it on the ends of the ball joints. And I'm going to do that on my sway bars on here, and also most probably on the links. So I'm going to see if I can get that all sorted out, and then obviously there won't be as much play. And the thing is that even on a rail car or monster truck, you do not want to play like this. I mean, another complaint about that. But anyways, enough of the complaints. Like I said, this thing is an awesome RC monster truck, but just pay a little more attention to these small little details, because now I have to waste my time, get the shocks all fixed up. I have to get the play I have to take the play out, and I haven't even driven with this thing yet. Because if you watch my first video about it, he said I did mention I don't have a battery for it just yet, so I don't even know if my IMAX B6 can charge the battery required to run this thing. So I must probably, hopefully not, that I have to go and buy a charger for this thing. So I'm another what, nearly $200 I have to go pay for a battery and for a charger for this thing. So, but anyways, apart from that, like I said, this thing is awesome. I love the attention to detail and things like that. But there are certain things that really, that like I said, that they could have gone that extra little kilometer or mile in some cases. The thing is that, like I said, we pay a lot of money for these things, and just these small little details. I mean, I can become a good RC reviewer. I mean, I'm not the only one out there that reviews RC cars, and the thing is that I do pay attention to the small little details, to the smallest little things, just to make these things run a lot better. And obviously, 20 years ago, I mean, it's a different story, but I mean 20 years ahead now, and the RC makers and whatnot, or the people in the design department, I wonder if the person who designed this thing, did they even look at a real monster truck and really pay attention to the tiny little details all over it, and then made this thing and decide, this is a good product. I'm sorry, but like I said, me as an art enthusiast and hobbyist, I don't mind working on these things. I mean, I love working on them, whatnot. But still, I mean, this is 2025, and this is the RC monster truck on the market that everyone is talking about. So, like I said in my first video, they went through a lot of trouble with the motor and with the ESC and the AI gyroscope thingy that it can do. It can wheel a lot better. It could do stoppies and moonwalks and bicycles, and so I mean, if they put a lot of detail into that and a lot of thought into that, why didn't they put real reservoirs on the shocks? Why these flimsy plastic fake thingies on here? I mean, come on. It would have been way cooler just to put real reservoirs on here. That would have been so awesome. And also these plastic bars in between here. That's why I put the aluminum ones on here. Because why didn't they use aluminum as well? Sway bars as well. This is plastic. Why didn't they use aluminum? Also this bar here is also plastic. Why not aluminum? Why not aluminum steering bar and the axles and everything, But anyways, I'm sure this is a good plastic. It's strong and whatnot. So I've watched quite a few videos about this thing, and I must say it's awesome. It does pretty cool tricks and whatnot. But I don't want to go too much into the complaint department or whatever's, but like I said, they could have gone a few extra miles on this thing. But anyways, guys, don't want to bore you too much about this. I'm going to get the shocks all sorted out, and then I don't know if I'm going to put in shock straps on this thing because there's no room for me to do something in between here. But like I said, I might drill a hole here into the frame, and then figure out something out to put a shock strap in between. Hopefully it doesn't come in between the shock and the sway bar here, because I was looking at that. Or I'm gonna have to make a shock strap that's going to, just like a real Motortrack, that's gonna when they subtract, then it's gonna go inside. But anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Good day, and take care, stay safe, have fun out there on the Aussie trails. See you in the next video. Alrighties, bye, see ya.